All right, quick countdowns, please.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 1.
9, 2, 3, 4, 7.
BooBaes. BooBaes.
Hello and howdy, hey.
Hi.
We're your BooBaes today.
And we're gonna do BooBaes things.
BooBaes things.
And what do BooBaes do?
We review horror movies because this is a horror movie podcast.
Ding, 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 ding. That was my you won.
You won.
Confetti just dropped.
Confetti?
Confetti. With a little accent.
Confetti.
Confetti.
It's just little feet-shaped confetti.
In different colors.
Yeah.
32.
Oh. I bet you they've got that for baby showers.
Oh, probably. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With little babies and little angels probably, and diapers, Pampers,
Baby
bottles,
dead.
baby bottles.
Oh.
Baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. You can lick it,
Suck it or dunk it. I don't know.
and shake it all up. Something like that. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about, I'm Caitlin,
Oh, and I'm Joshua.
and we're here to talk to you about candy, apparently. But we're talking about Lights Out,
Lights out.
2016.
Turn the lights out. I'm really excited actually to cover it because I feel like I thought I had seen it, which I guess I did, but I guess I saw it such a long time ago that it kind of was a brand new watch for me.
Yeah.
And then you told me that it was
Based on a short.
exactly which you made me watch. And I mean, it's only 2 minutes, 30 seconds or something like that. It's
Yeah.
very short.
Terrifying.
And it was very terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked how they got all of this movie from that, because I mean, this obviously expands even more on that with having a whole family and these, because it's kind of like a drama as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so much emotion and heavy family based trauma that it's kind of hard to not also just see the serious side of this family trying to get through it, but all the whole there's some supernatural element that's also making it extra fucking hard for them to just get through their regular life shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, there were a lot of moments in the film where you could see bits of the short coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing that's different is obviously that they had to make the short somehow. They had to make it
an hour and a half.
feature-length film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they had to add in all that drama and stuff. But there's one moment where they tape the light covers and stuff like that, just like she did in the short.
So the short is, like we said, super short, but
Super short.
opens up essentially with this lady, and she's it's after hours and she's doing work, right? Or no, she's at home.
She's at home.
This is because I'm confusing the movie already.
Yeah. She's at home.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if the lady
It's
at
her.
the beginning,
It's
it
the
is
same.
her.
Mhm.
Okay. I was like, it looks the same.
It's
She
the
looks
same
the
lady.
same.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That they cast her for the feature length film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's at home and she is finishing up in the bathroom, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's
getting ready
going-
for bed.
Yeah, going into her room. And of course, leading up to her room is this giant hallway,
Mhm.
Because can't have a scary movie without a long, creepy hallway. What is it about hallways that makes them so terrifying?
Because it's you're at one end and then it's the other end. And most of the time, I mean, yeah, usually there's doorways or stuff maybe, but it's closed. And so there's no escape. It's just
It's
that
true.
end or behind me.
Yeah.
So that's pretty scary.
It is.
The actress's name is Lotta Lawson.
Lotta Lawson.
So we can give her flowers because she was pretty cool.
She
yeah.
did a lot of acting.
She essentially, like we said, was getting ready for bed, and yeah, she's flipping the light switch, and there's that figure that's whenever the lights are
On. And then off whenever
yeah.
she turns them on,
Yeah,
the figure's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say the amount of time she flips this light switch.
Oh yeah, and doesn't and she's just huh.
The first time I saw that, I would have been like, nope.
Literally
Out.
leaving them on and leaving. Yeah.
Yep. I
Mhm.
would have walked right the fuck past it.
Because that is scary because she
Yep.
does it enough times to where you're like, okay, we get it. There's something there. But then the last time that she turns the light, what is it, off or on? It's so confusing. The last time that she does it, the figure disappears.
But it's right next to her.
Yeah.
It shows up right next to her. And that's terrifying. It's like right there in the doorway. And she's like, bah! And then she doesn't.
Because it like runs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think it just
like blinks, right?
Yeah. It's like at the end of the hallway, and then all of a sudden it's right next to her.
Guys, I watched this 2 minutes and 30 seconds like a month ago.
Yeah.
But
we watched this a while ago.
I'm trying to remember it.
But yeah, terrifying because she turns it off and the person's facing away from her. So you're just seeing like this like ratty butt of someone. She's naked, butt naked, and she's covered in dirt or something. She looks very dirty. But all of a sudden,
very like the kids from Mama.
Yes, yeah. And all of a sudden, this creature is next to her, and it's scary. And then this bitch just she tapes the light switch at this point, right? This is when she tapes it on.
Yeah, to try to keep the lights on. And then she's just getting underneath the bed sheets after that, which also like what are bed sheets gonna do? Yeah. And
to a child brain, sure.
Then she starts noticing that, is it the little clicker on the floor, the switch? What is that thing called? A power strip?
Power surge.
A power
surge protector.
There you go.
Power strip, yeah.
It's like wanting to flick off. She's hearing it. And so she like kicks it to try to like fix it. And at that point, I would not reach for anything that like is where something can reach you from under the bed.
From under the bed.
Yeah, that's scary. And so
she's not using her best horror movie.
She's able she's able to keep it on, but then that's whenever the creature then like turns off the lights, right?
Yeah, she hears the door open slightly and is like not looking in that direction. And then all of a sudden she doesn't hear anything for a second and she turns over and looks. Her room is first off barren.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this room other than a tiny night switch or a nightstand with a little lamp on it that's plugged into the one surge protector in her bed. It's very like...
It's minimalistic.
Super.
Yeah.
Or she just moved in.
Could be. Or she doesn't have that much stuff. Yeah. Maybe.
And then there's this lamp on the end of the nightstand that's got one of those little light switches on the base of the lamp. And she turns over and all of a sudden there's this creature just staring at her with the most disgusting smile. It's like very so eerie, over
grimacing.
It's over. It's just too big.
You know what it reminds me of?
Too big.
The
Wallace
guy
and Gromit.
That and the guy from Courage the Cowardly Dog, whose name is Fred, and he's like, "You've been a very naughty."
Yeah. I can see
and
that.
He smiles really creepily.
That's very I mean, Courage isn't claymation, but
no, but Courage is also horror themed. So yeah.
Wallace and Gromit is
fits.
Well, they have like a Halloween one. But Wallace and Gromit, you know, they've got those really big smiles and stuff. And that's what it reminded me of. And it's just sitting there smiling at her and then clicks turns off the light and that's the end.
That's it. Yeah.
We don't know what happens, but we can assume she's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead. She apparently lived though, because then she made it to this movie.
For real. Well, and then she got some good credit roll because she's in there for about at least 15 minutes before she's like, I'm out. Bye. Be careful going home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it essentially opens up at Wells Textiles, which is a factory, and it's after hours. It's nighttime. I'm pretty sure that these are the only two people left in the building, probably.
Yeah. We've got Paul. Is his name Paul?
I believe so.
Yes. Paul, who's like the head honcho, I'm assuming.
And Jill. Who is played by Lotta. And so, and I was like, oh, it's the lady from the short in minutes. And he's talking to his son on the phone.
On Skype.
Yeah, it's FaceTime before FaceTime.
Yep.
But I guess this was 2016, so FaceTime was still a thing.
Skype's still a thing.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't used Skype in a really long time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like I think I remember using like MSN Messenger back in the day. Back in the day. That was a long time ago though, like 2010. But anyways, we act like that's long ago. A decade ago. And so they're talking about, well, the son wants his dad home because the mom is acting weird.
Yeah, mom's like, I was like, Mom is losing it?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
And the dad is basically saying like, it's okay, like I will be home soon and I will make her better. Like I'm gonna make sure that she gets better. and he's just trying to reassure his son. And that's pretty much the gist of their conversation, what they're trying to talk about. And then that's whenever Jill comes in, and because it goes to her, and she's, I guess, getting ready to leave, prepping stuff for nighttime.
Yeah, she came in and asked him if he wanted anyone work overtime. Yeah, and so she left to go tell everyone to go home, and she's doing her closing duties, closing up around the warehouse, and she realizes, like, as she's like trying to fill out her form and stuff, she's standing there and all of a sudden the lights go out and they're motion censored. So she, like, you see her waving her arm around and stuff in order to turn it back on. But then all of a sudden, right as the like light flicks on, we see something move in this clothing rack, and it was like, ah!
For real, it's scary because I'm like, why are the clothes moving like that?
Yeah.
Like something walked by and they shouldn't.
Yeah, ran past it.
Yeah. And at this point, Jill's freaked out, as anyone should be. And she goes to tell Paul, and Paul is on the phone, right? And he's talking to somebody trying to sort something out.
Yeah. And well, she also...
Oh, this is actually, she saw the figure before that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she, after the clothing rack moved, she's like, weird, but okay. And she's going around trying to close up. And this is where it's very reminiscent of the short.
That's right.
And yet again, she flicks it on so many fucking times. And there's just this creature standing at the other end of the break room or something is where I assume she is. And then all of a sudden she like, I think she leaves the light on, runs to Paul and is like, I saw something.
Yeah. There's something. And
there's
he's
something
like,
here.
What? And she's like, I don't know, but just be careful going home.
Yeah. Because he's on the phone. So he's busy. He can't really talk to her.
Yeah. And so he, gets off the phone call. She leaves. So it's now his time to go home. But as he's leaving, he's walking down the same corridor, essentially, that she was at earlier, where those clothes on the clothes rack moved and stuff.
Yeah.
The motion sensor lights. And it's kind of like lights where it's like, they're like, what do you call them? They almost look like like cook lights, like lamps, heat lamps, because they just have like one round like light where it falls, and then like the rest of around it is like black,
dark.
Yeah. It's
very, I mean, just a very centered light.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't have a lot of bleed out.
So there's gaps essentially.
Yeah.
Between the light and the dark. And so he starts to, is this where we see the thing on the floor, right?
Yes.
The figure.
This is where we see her crouched inside the shadows.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's already creepy.
Yeah.
Because then she starts to like get up. And this movie actually kind of creeped me out a little bit because of the design of Diana. Yeah. I just didn't like the way it moved. Like it was just.
That's fair.
I just didn't like the way
I thought she looked very great in the dark.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
And with like glowing the little eyes.
Yeah, the glowing eyes were creepy.
Yeah.
Once it actually showed her and stuff, wasn't a fan of that as much. Partly just because I loved the creepy smile from the short.
Gotcha.
And I know that they had to make her like covered in these lesions and stuff to help with the story and perpetuate it, but it's still, I liked the smiley version better.
Creature better.
Yeah.
It's scarier for you.
Yeah. It's terrifying. Okay. Oh my God. If I woke up to that thing, oh, no.
But it also looked like a child, didn't it? From the short? I kind of got like shorter.
It was definitely
miniature.
Crouched.
Yeah. Kind of situation.
Because it was a full-size person whenever it was next to her.
That's true.
It just, I think it was crouched down next to the bed. Yeah. And it was like
creepy.
Cake.
And so
making itself eye level with her.
The ding ding ding, Diana is now coming towards Paul, but he makes the lights go on, right?
Yeah, because the lights keep flicking off, and then on. He keeps like turning them back on and stuff. But each time she's getting closer and closer, and then eventually he's like, nah, fuck this shit, I'm
starts
out.
Running.
Yeah, runs, but not before she gets his leg.
Yeah, because he's going through, like we said, one of the gaps in the lights, and then he ends up making his way to the back area, which is not the same break room area, I guess, that she was at earlier. But
Yeah.
a different area. It has like a mirror. Not a mirror, like
I think
a window.
he makes it back into his office.
Is that the office?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think he makes it back into there.
Is that what it was? Okay. Well, he does, and it has like that window and stuff that you can see through. And he makes it in there, and it's also he has the lights in there on.
Yes, he does. It should be said, this place is like a mannequin factory.
Yeah, because there's mannequins everywhere,
covered with mannequins,
which is also very scary because
also makes it creepy. We talked about this in
the
Saw
dark, the silhouette
and stuff, and then I'm sure there's been some other film where we've talked about.
Yeah,
it's always in a fucking mannequin factory.
Because it's got to be creepy.
Yeah,
it adds to the creepy factor.
There was one time I was listening to some scary stories after dark. Like, I was listening to ghost stories while I was closing up at work, and I was completely alone in the building. And it was dark, and the lights were turned off overhead. I was just working with the sunlight.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, I work in a clothing store, so there's mannequins kind of everywhere. And yeah, I was listening to one about mannequins.
That's scary. So you were like paranoid looking over your shoulder.
I had to turn it off and then call someone to walk me out, like be on the phone with me as I walked out.
They were watching you the whole time. They wanted to kill you.
So creepy.
But they said you knew too much.
You know too much.
And so he ends up getting to that back room. It's locked, but the doorknob starts shaking. And then he's like, guess freaking out a little bit, but then the lights go off in there. Yeah. And that's whenever he's, for some reason, also was backing up into a corner the whole time, I guess, to get away from the door. Yeah. But also it's like pitch black in that corner. And the furthest thing away, I guess, from the light. But because there was kind of light flooding in, I feel like, from that window. Yeah. Ish. I don't know. But he ends up getting yeeted and snatched into the corner of the room. You don't really see it.
Yep. He's sucked away, and then you see his corpse just plop down in the middle of the factory. Yeah. And he's you can assume he's dead.
Yeah, he's pretty mangled. Yeah. She did a number on him, and then we have a title card, and it's lights out. Yep. And it kind of pans in really creepily, like comes in on just some of the letters at a time, and you're like, ooh. I liked it. Yeah. It's pretty creative. It is. And then we start the movie off with some corny, sappy romance. Yep. Becca's got commitment issues is what I wrote. She does. Yeah. From the get-go. Been seeing this guy, Brett, for like 8 months. Which is a pretty long time. Says. Yeah, which is a long time. And then she's like still kicking him out, not letting him spend the night. They're not boyfriend, girlfriend yet. Yeah. No titles. Yeah. Even though they've been seeing each other exclusively for 8 months, which I was like, damn. I mean, like, I went through phases like that, but I got bored of the people after like 2 months. 2 months. Yeah, that's different. I mean, 8 months is a long time. Just call a spade a spade. Yeah, I was like, you're boyfriend and girlfriend in a relationship at that point. Yeah. Yeah, especially. Yeah. Because he was like, I love you. And but anyways, we do see in some photos and family stuff that she's got around that little boy from the beginning of the movie talking to Paul is her little brother. Yep. And we see her and her mom and him, right, in a photo. Yep. And then we are between them. What's the boyfriend's name? Brett. Brett. It's my brother's name. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. The one I haven't met. Yes. Brett and Becca her name's Rebecca, but we're going to call her Becca because she gets called Becca. They're going through that whole little spat of like, he wants to like, at least get a drawer or a sock in there. And she's like, no. One sock. And he tucks away a little sock. And then she finds it and throws it out the window at him. As he's leaving. And apparently she's got a gig of his to go to the next day. So we know like they're going to be seeing each other. Like, this is not just a one night stand, or he's not going to be done with the movie. He'll be back. But it does go over to, what's his name? The little brother, Martin, because that's such a grown man name. Child name. Yeah, exactly. We're with Martin. We're back at his house, right? And I think this house is cute. It's cute. It's big. Love it. And all the lights are off. Scary. Yeah, it's very scary. It's very manor. And he's in his bedroom, and that's whenever he starts to go out and look for his mom, because he's like wants to make sure she's okay. He hears her talking to someone. That's right. And he goes to her bedroom and she's literally talking to like someone we didn't see.
She's talking to the closet.
The closet. It's dark. Yeah. It's black. And
which is just like, absolutely the fuck not. That's terrifying.
And she doesn't look well.
No. She looks very sickly. Yeah.
She looks sickly, and she also looks a little like she's frazzled. And she's like surprised that he's just coming up to her being like, hi. And she's like, Martin, what are you doing up? You know, what are you doing over here? Yeah. And so
we're just talking. Did we wake you?
Yeah.
Kind of
and that's creepy because
like,
he looks at her and he's like, why the fuck are you talking about we?
It's just you here, Mom.
Yeah, it's just you. So she seems pretty crazy. And so she's trying to just console him and tell him that everything's okay. And she's telling him good night. Go to your bed, go to sleep. That's it. I think she even said, like, you're not supposed to be out of your bedroom at night or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then while she's sitting there talking to him, and after he said good night to her, he looks back and he just sees this darkness growing behind his mother, which was just terrifying. So then, of course, he bolts to his room, as he should, and locks the door and stuff. And he hops into bed, covers himself with the covers. And then his little door handle starts jiggling.
That's scary.
Yep. Terrifying. The creature's trying to get into his room.
Trying to steal his soul.
No, thank you.
And so I guess we find out that little Martin, not so little, survives the night. He ends up, it's the next day already?
Yeah, he's in his homeroom and he's
falling asleep in class. Yeah.
So he's in the nurse's office. They've tried to call
his mom, but she's not answering.
Yeah, she's not picking up. So this is where I clued in that Becca was Martin's sister. I wasn't sure if maybe she had just like babysat him or something from the picture. I just wasn't sure. But yeah, Becca is for sure Martin's sister.
They could have gone with that storyline, sure, even as well, yeah.
Like she was just babysitting him or something.
And grew a bond and they just know each other. Or a cousin, or I don't know. But
could have been lots of things.
She ends up being the sister, like you said, and so they end up calling her. And so they end up there's a CPS person there, who is now informing Becca, like, we tried to call his mom, she didn't answer, because Becca shows up like, why didn't you call his mom? Like, what am I doing here? And she's just like, we tried to call her mom. And Becca's even like, what's wrong? Like, what does he do? And
she's really giving this CPS lady a hard time.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, she is just trying to do her job. Leave her alone.
And she's like, he fell asleep 3 times this week, like in this, like in homeroom. Obviously he's not sleeping. There's something wrong.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, she clearly cared for Martin.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like, could be rare sometimes in those cases as well.
And so he's being also a little cryptic, because when he's like talking to Becca and she's asking him questions, he's like, I don't want to stay at my house. Can I stay with you? Like,
Mom keeps having a friend over, and she's like, what friend? And he says, Diana. And you see the flicker of recognition across Becca's face where she's like, what?
Yeah, because she's like, how long is, she starts telling him, Mom did this to me when I was your age.
Yeah.
I had to go through the same thing, actually. And Diana isn't real. She's just like a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
But also, like, dumb fuck Rebecca, like, that's some big denial, because like, how in the hell is he gonna also have the same figment of imagination? Like, that's dumb.
Especially if you never talked about it to him, you never put it in his brain. None of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
and so that's whenever we do have her getting inside. They're going into the house. The mom is there. She's like, why are y'all doing here? And Becca just walks in and she's just like, how long have you been off your meds? And kind of grilling her mom, essentially.
Yeah.
Because her mom, because she has this relationship with her mom that's tumultuous already. And she knows that her mom has a history with mental illness. And so she's just like, really probably giving her a lot of like resentment or taking out her resentments and like all of that, like animosity that she's held up in this situation towards her.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we have Mr. Martin upstairs, and the little homeboy is packing so fast.
Packing like his bag, like his life depends on it.
Because it does.
Yep.
And even when he's done packing and he's like walking by, or he looks into the office, I guess.
Yeah, the office next door to him. The door opens.
That's right.
The door opens, and then he walks past it. Or he walks out of his room because he heard it open, and then all of a sudden the creature just like slams the door shut, and it's like boom, in his face,
wisps away.
Yeah, because it had like a stained glass window, so you could see her
like
body through it. Yeah, which it was pretty cool shot. But yeah, I love the way when he comes downstairs, Rebecca's like, "Get your bags," and he's like, "Got him,
packed,
already. Let's go right now."
Literally. And the mom obviously isn't too crazy about this. She watching them walk out and like losing her shit on the front porch and just like crying. And then I'm just thinking like Brett is just watching all this happen in the driver's seat, just like, oh, okay, I guess he's coming. And she's like, he's coming with us. He's staying with me now.
I can't imagine what was going through his head, especially like this girl doesn't trust me enough to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would have been like, no, I'm not taking you somewhere. We're not even dating. I would have threw that line back in her face so fast.
Yeah.
Well, who said anything about being your boyfriend?
Didn't sign up for that yet. Because you didn't. And so, yeah, she ends up, what is it? The little boy, they're back at Rebecca's house. Yeah. And the little Martin asked her, if mom's crazy, are we crazy too?
Does it mean we're crazy too?
Yeah.
Which was like, oh, but yes.
It does. And it's hereditary. And Becca's like, no, like, we're okay. Like, it's just mom. Like, she'll be better, like, when she gets her meds and gets some sleep or something like that.
Yeah.
Trying to console him. And then it's nighttime, essentially, right? Because Brett leaves. Or he goes to get groceries.
No, that's later.
Yes. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, it's just nighttime. And also, how does she sleep with that tattoo sign going off and on throughout the night? I didn't get that.
Apparently she lives next to a tattoo parlor that has this like giant LED light that just goes flashing red all night. Like a very slow, like on and back off. On back off.
Literally like that. And so Rebecca wakes up in the middle of the night because she hears like
scratching
on the floor. And it sounds very eerie. And so she's like feeling next to herself. She notices that Martin isn't in bed with her anymore because he was sleeping next to her. And she's like calling for him, but she's noticing that the scratching is going on. And as that light is flicking on and off from the tattoo sign, it's red as well. So it's not like just like a regular fluorescent light.
Yeah.
So it's even creepier.
It's got this eerie glow.
We see this figure just like scratching at the floor.
Hunched over. And it's got this wild hair, which you can clearly tell is not Martin. Of course, Becca's still being like, Martin?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, bitch.
That's not Martin. No. And so she ends up looking closer and closer, trying to get closer. And as soon as she was like, gets on the floor to see what it is, and she's like at the same eye level with it, it turns its head towards her and we see the beady eyes and it just like bolts for her.
Charges her, which I don't understand why she was like getting closer.
I didn't either.
I was like, girl, what? No. What are you doing? Get your ass off that ground right now.
Yeah.
We do not get closer to this thing. Charges her though. That was terrifying.
And that's very terrifying. And for her as well. And she freaks out and she's like, oh my God. And she goes to the restroom and she's like looking for Martin and she just notices, I guess, that light that's in the bathtub. Yeah. And then she finds Martin in the bathtub asleep. Poor baby had like a flashlight just shining on him.
Yeah.
It's probably the only sleep he's got in like a week.
Probably. So sweet. He just curled up there.
Yeah. And she obviously doesn't wake him because she's like, okay, he's sleeping at least. That's good. Looking for a great haircut or shave experience? Come to Champion's Salon and Barber. Our skilled barbers and stylists are dedicated to giving you the best service possible. Whether you need a simple haircut or a complete grooming package, we have you covered. And while you're here, feel free to enjoy a complimentary beer and chat with our friendly staff. We have 2 convenient locations in Waco and Woodway, Texas. You can also book appointments online or through our app, making it easy to schedule your next visit. So why wait? Visit Champion Salon and Barber today and experience a cut above the rest.
I love smoothies, but I don't love smoothie bar prices. With my BlendJet 2 portable blender, I can make smoothie bar quality beverages for a fraction of the price.
BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach.
Yum.
It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go.
I do love that feature about it. It is rather nice.
It does, and it stays pretty quiet.
What color did you get?
I got black because it matches the color of my soul.
Perfect. I got pink because if my whole life could be pink, it would be.
We love pink.
It matches my water bottle perfectly.
It sure does.
Yeah. So whenever I carry both, I feel very aesthetic.
That's
I'm like,
nice.
yay, got me a nice pink BlendJet 2, looking real cute. And it's really yummy with my good smoothie in it. So what are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use promo code
BOO12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BOO12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping.
Shop today and get the best deal ever.
Yay!
And we're back.
And so basically, it's the next morning, though, after Martin fell asleep in the bathtub, and the CPS lady stops by the house, makes a home visit.
She sure does, because she ain't having it. She's like, you can't be doing this.
You are not a suitable parent, parental figure for this little boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Guardian. Yeah.
I love how she's talking to Becca and telling her about this. And like at first I'm like, well, that's his sister. Like, let her have him. Like, but then she looks around. There's like literally a bong.
Yeah.
And like marijuana and like all these things. And like, because Becca's like, this is a suitable home, and she's just like looking around.
And she's like, I can find 1, 2, 3 things right in like a 5-foot vicinity that is bad.
Yeah. And so obviously she ends up taking Martin because she's like, look, I got to take him back to your mom because she is his mom. And the only way that you can get him is if you file charges against your mom, and that is going to get ugly, and that ain't going to be pretty for anybody. And if you really want to open up that can of worms, then do it. But if not, I'm taking him back to his mom.
Yep. And she said the mom seemed perfectly lucid this morning whenever she met with her on the phone or in person. I think she made a home visit after the mom called her.
Probably.
And said that she seemed perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Which I was like, did you see the same mom we did?
Who knows?
Because she was looking pretty rough. Pretty rough.
She could have finessed her, could have just, lied her way into...
Turned on the lights.
Exactly. And so we have Martin's, gone, and he's telling her as they're walking away, he's like, it's okay. Like, I actually slept through the night, so I'll be okay. I'll be good. And I'm like, damn. Oh, okay. Poor Martin. Yeah. He's going to die. No, I'm just kidding. And so at this point, we have Becca back in the, apartment building, and she's looking around, and she notices that at the same spot where the creature, whatever, Diana was scratching at night, the night before, there is like an A at the, or a D, my bad, a D and an I. And so she's like, oh my God. And so she like lifts up the carpet, the rug that it's underneath, and it says Diana, and it has like a little wooden stick figure. And that's pretty Blair Witch Project and pretty creepy.
Yep. It's
and
just
it means
etched into her floorboard, which
it's cursed now. The apartment's cursed. Yep. And so now they can't escape her. She's pretty much going to follow them either place, whether they're there or at home.
They're not safe anywhere.
Yeah.
But then we start floating into a little flashback from when she was a kid. And we see young Becca drawing at her desk. And then all of a sudden her paper is like stolen from her. The light like flickers for a second and her notepad is gone. And then you hear something etching in the closet. And then she flicks on the light of the closet and the notebook drops, which was like, ooh, that's pretty spooky. And on it is this drawing of Diana, that same stick figure kind of drawing, shoved in between her
family.
mom. Yeah. The dad's etched, crossed
dead.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad is DED, dead.
Deceased.
Yep. And then Diana's little stick figure body is shoved in between Becca's and her mom's.
And so essentially this is just giving us more, you know, flashback into what Rebecca was speaking on earlier on having to deal with Diana back from her past. And so at this point, I guess it was kind of like probably one of those memories that she had as a kid that she really buried deep. And so it was kind of like a triggering for her. So now she's like, oh, wait, what the fuck? This bitch is real.
Yeah.
Like now I remember her for real, for real. And so she ends up calling Brett, and he comes up to pick her up, and she, you know, they're kind of doing little cutesy whatever. He's like, oh, I guess you want me now. But he's like, where are we going? She's like, we're going back to my mom's because this bitch is real.
And he's like, what the fuck? Who's Diana?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'll tell you when we
She's
get
like,
there.
keep up.
Yeah. And I'm like,
he
girl,
like essentially knows nothing.
Brett knows nothing in this film.
Mm-hmm. And so she goes back to her mom.
Probably doesn't even know her last name.
Probably
like
not. Very Carrie Underwood. And so they get back to her mom's place. She breaks in, essentially, not like breaking in because she has a key, but uses a key underneath the hiding key place.
Hide a key. Yeah.
And she gets into the house, but they're trying to, you know, she puts him on watch because she's like, if my mom shows up, we're hitting the back door, we're leaving. And so she goes to the office after kind of snooping around the house a little bit. And she notices that like it's dark in there. The light cord has been cut. There are like a little bedding essentially kind of by the window.
Yeah, it looked like,
I don't know if for Diana or for her mom was sleeping in there.
I feel like maybe the mom was.
That's what it gives. Maybe.
Or maybe that was Diana's bed. I don't know. It looked like
for a dog you don't care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just roll up some blankets on the floor.
There you go.
Don't even get them a little
bed.
back. That's probably what they would choose anyways.
For sure. Because any bed you get for a dog, they're going to chew it up.
Yeah. And not sleep in it.
Mm-hmm. But she ends up in there. She's going through stuff.
The kittens won't even lay on their stuff either.
Oh, no?
Yeah.
That's how they are.
I bought them a bed, and this morning Suki was laying on the litter mat.
Aww.
I was like, what are you doing over there by your poo-poo?
She's like, get
away from that.
I want to be close in case I'm ready to go.
I know. I was like, is your tummy hurt? Like, what's going on, Suki? That's what I do when I don't feel good.
Stay close by.
Not on the litter mat, but my bath mat.
You could just use the litter. Do it. Hides this odor?
It does.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's made for
human fecal matter. And so she ends up seeing that there is a picture on the wall, and it is of this little girl underneath an umbrella, kind of darkened, and then it's a little blonde girl, and she turns it around and it says photo of Sophie and Diane.
Sophie is the mom, and Diana is of course Diana.
My bad, not Diane. And my phone corrected it 2 times at Diane here. Diana was a patient, and so was her mom at a mental hospital.
Yes.
That's how they got to know each other when they were kids. They had to be like, what, 9 or between 9 and 13 probably.
Yeah. And then we flash into it reminded me of Mama again.
Yeah.
Because we're picking up these tapes from this box of this mental institution, going through a sort of trial series with Diana where they're trying to do some experimental testing on her. And basically they're asking her, like, why did you hurt Sophie? And she says, because she was getting better. And we had to
stop that.
Hurt her again so that way she could stay. Didn't want to be separated from Sophie, which is like, ugh. That's a red flag. Yeah.
Yeah. It also kind of gave me, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but like it reminded me of, which this also came after. So this gave that, but this inspired that, I guess, the Malignant vibes at the beginning of it.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen Malignant yet.
You'll have to watch it.
I know. I want to.
And so we do have, like you said, we're going through that flashback sequence, getting more backstory on what happened with her. And apparently, Miss Diana had a skin condition that made her super sensitive to the light, like extra super like crazy sensitive, but also maybe supernatural, radioactive. I don't know, because they tried to do some sort of experiment on her where they basically essentially blasted her with rays of light.
Yeah.
And they obliterated her.
Like floodlights, basically. They just like
disintegrated her?
put them. Yeah, she disintegrated.
Yeah.
She was just this little
scorch marks
on the chair.
I
Yeah.
was like, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
Was she a vampire?
I mean, people spontaneously combust.
Where?
Oh, it's happened before.
How do people bust?
Like
spontaneously.
I'll have to send you some podcasts on episodes of
what?
Yeah, spontaneous combustion is like a real thing.
But not like it's like maybe you're like and like you
kind of burn
your guts
slowly
come out
over time, or it's like you're all of a sudden it's like one giant heat that just.
We'll look into it. I'll look into it.
It's really cool.
And so we do have her blowing up essentially just like that, and she's dead. Which then, got rid of her, but not really, because I'm like, now I guess because in the way she died, she became this like evil entity that latched itself on to Sophie.
Yep.
Essentially. And after Becca starts to find out all this information, she ends up is the Brett inside the house, right?
Brett is inside the house,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Still standing guard.
He's still standing guard. She's upstairs.
And she gets attacked.
Because she goes into...
Like someone gets attacked.
She goes into Martin's room.
That's right.
And she's looking around and stuff and finds... I think, doesn't she find the notebook of the picture of Diana drawn in between?
The same thing from her...
little flashback.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden she's getting like choked out. She's like getting... held up to the ceiling.
Yes, because the door shuts.
Yep.
And you're like, what the heck is that? And she's like going closer towards it, and all out of nowhere, Diana's like hovering up above and just like picks her up by the neck.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. It's pretty creepy. She's getting choked out, but Mr. Brett hears and he comes up and he opens the door, and as soon as he does that, lets the light in, Miss Rebecca gets dropped to the floor.
Yep. And then you hear a whisper either before Brett comes in or afterwards.
I think it's right before. Yeah.
Stay away, and that she won't be sent away again. Yeah.
And they end up fucking leaving, because who wouldn't? And as they're walking out, she's like got this little box of stuff, and he's like, "What's that?" She's like, "It's proof." Proof.
This is proof.
The proof is in the pudding.
And then we flash to Martin and Sophie, aka Mom, walking up the steps, and she's saying like, "How about we have a movie night?" And it'll be good for us. Some quality time is what we need.
All three of us.
Which was like,
I'm gonna slap her.
And Martin was like, can it just be us two? And she's like, "Oh, we'll see."
Yeah.
Which was like, ugh, that's so creepy, Mom.
Very creepy. But they're back. They're inside, and it's movie night. They're on the couch. They're actually having the movie night, just them two. But she ends up looking at him, and she's talking to him, and just kind of bringing up, I guess, just asking him how he is, I guess. But then it turns into her bringing up that she has a friend that she wants him to meet.
Yep.
And she essentially is just basically, she's setting it up because she's about to introduce him to Diana, I guess. And he's like, I don't want to meet your friend.
Her.
Like, please no. Like, I'm okay, Mom. I'm good. Like, I just want it to be us two. And so then
but Sophie's not listening. She flips off that light switch super fast.
This
she comes
is so horrible.
Sits back down on the couch, and then all of a sudden we see Diana in the corner, and then she's like on the back of the couch. Ugh. And fucking Sophie's trying to like hold Martin's face to look at her.
It's so cringe.
And
I was like, she's fucking crazy, dude.
Diana like touches Martin's hair and stuff, and then Martin finally breaks free. Finally breaks free. And he goes and turns on a light, and Sophie's screaming like, "Stop, he doesn't know, because Diana's now pissed. Diana's like, "What the hell? He didn't like my pets?"
For real. She's like, "Nah, he's gonna die now."
Yep.
He had one chance. And he ends up running away.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, because we're back with Brett and Rebecca, right?
Yeah.
And that's whenever he ends up knocking at the door. And she's like, "Hello?" Because at first you think it's like oh no, it's the ghost. It's Diana, even though she's not a ghost, I guess, technically. But it's him at the door, and she's like, "Oh, hi." And he's like, "Hello, can I sleep here tonight?" Essentially. Right? Did I skip over anything?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. And so that's whenever he's there. She's like, "Are you okay?" She is gonna make him food, but there's nothing in the fridge because Brett's looking, and he's like, "We need to go buy some groceries. And so she sends him to go get groceries, and she's explaining, basically gives her the time to explain Diana to Martin.
Yeah. She's saying that she believes him, and basically to me, Diana was giving Samara
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just with her whole
like
existence.
revenge ghost.
Yeah. And then the being tested on and stuff like that as well. Kind of thing. But basically she's explaining that Diana only comes around when mom is at her worst. And then...
And she explains like she was like this. And he was like, oh, you mean like when your dad left her? Or dad... Yeah, because it's only explained at this point that when your dad left your mom, she's like, yeah, just like that. Like, that's when she got worse, you know?
And then he asks, if she's dead, how could she be doing this to us? Oh, and this is where the knock on the door happens and no one's there.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so after that knock on the door, though, Martin ends up getting attacked.
Yep, because she lures them in with the closet, like something's happening. I think the scratching is coming from inside the closet or something, and she's going to turn on the light, but while she's doing that, Martin's standing behind her and he gets yanked under the bed, which was
but she's able to
for him.
pull him back from out from under, and that's whenever they end up going back over to the mom's house.
Yep.
Pretty fast after, because they're like, you know, we're gonna end this now. They go over there, and what is it? She starts confronting her mom.
Yeah, she's questioning her mom about Diana. Basically, Sophie's like, no, I'm not going to cut out Diana and hurt her that way, just like I was hurt, you know, whenever your dad left and stuff like that. And whenever you cut me out of your life, it really hurt me. And I realized that that's what I had been doing to Diana for so long, and it's not fair to her. And so I need to keep loving her and stuff like that.
Yeah. Talking crazy, a whole bunch of mess.
Yeah.
And essentially, I think even Becca, like, okay, wants to leave and take Martin. But Martin's like, I don't want to leave. We're obviously not safe anywhere, and I want to protect mom.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay here. And so that's when Brett also decides to stay with them as well, with Brett and Becca and Martin there with her mom at her house. And I think at this point, that's whenever they're getting ready for bed. They're getting everything set up.
They're taping the light switches just like in the short.
And then I think someone tries to go into the office.
Martin, I know for sure, asked Becca to sleep in there with him, but I don't know if that's
in his bedroom
before.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just like, the office won't open, and then someone's talking to Brett, talking to mom. Mom gives Rebecca a note. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's my yeah. Because then after all of this is going down and they're getting ready for bed, Becca has a chance to talk to her mom because she's at her bedroom door, and she comes out and opens it. And she's like, I'm actually telling her mom. She's telling her mom that she's staying, and that's when her mom. You can tell the mom's like even just fucking happy to have her staying back in the house.
Yeah.
And they're having a little conversation, and her mom is able to give her a little, like, you can tell she slips or something in her hand as they're like hugging goodnight. And I love too how her mom is like, you can tell she gets like pulled back into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something clearly grabs her and then just pulls her back into the room. And before that, Martin and Becca had their like, or not Martin and Becca, Brett and Becca had their like cringy acting.
Oh, heart to heart moment.
Heart to heart. Yeah. Before, where she says that he can have like the bottom drawer and stuff.
That's right.
And I was like, too bad he's probably going to die, but he doesn't. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But anyways,
you think he might.
I want to mention that part because that acting was what knocked me down a few boo levels.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. In that moment, I was like, yeah,
it gave like
it's not top tier. So I just
low
wanted
quality.
to bring it
up. And so after she gets that, after the bad acting,
and the note from her mom,
which says, "Help me."
Yep.
Or I need help.
I need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the power goes out in the house.
And she's like she was like trying to help at first.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Like, and trying to find her mom's meds and stuff. But then she just gets into bed with Martin.
Yeah.
She just kind of like is like,
we're good. Yeah. And even Martin's like, you think we're going to be okay? Is everything going to be right? And she's like, yeah, we're okay.
We're fine. Because he was like, did you find her medicine? And she said, no.
But we'll deal with it in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
as
all
if
the
we're going to
lights
make it to the morning.
Yep.
All the power goes out. Obviously, it's the middle of the night.
And it's
so,
like the whole neighborhood is out. Whenever we see Brett outside, it was like the power line itself was down.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just the house. It was everyone around looked like they were in a blackout.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
And so as Brett went outside to look around, Becca's looking around the house. Becca ends up going to the basement because she's going to the breaker box to go try to fix it.
Girl, you are stupid.
Don't go to the basement. Well, there's no power. But anyway, she's down there. And also, I thought as well, like, why wouldn't she have woken up Martin and stayed together? Because she leaves Martin and he wakes up obviously terrified because he's alone. And he's like, Becca.
And all he's left with is a fucking candle. Just a candle.
Literally.
Yeah.
And already from the get-go, fucking Diana is making her presence known because he goes
He's
out of there.
He's trying to go down the stairs
because he tries to get that flashlight from that he hid.
Oh yeah,
but it's not there anymore. She moved it.
Yeah. And then he passes the room towards the mom's door.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like in the darkness, she kind of like sucks him up and pulls him into it, but he somehow escapes and magically his candle is still burning.
Yeah.
Don't know how. But then he makes his way down to the basement and he's like, "What the fuck, Becca?
Yeah, what the hell are you doing down here?"
Me?
And she's like, "I'm trying to get the power back on." And he's like, "But why would we be all the way down here?" And she's like, "It's a trap!" And as soon as we both realize that it's a trap and we try to run upstairs, that door shuts.
She's at the top of the door and she locks them in the basement. Locks them
in. And so obviously they're screaming down there like hella crazy. And Brett comes in because he's like gonna try to save the day and he can hear them down there. And so as he goes to the door, he's got this one flashlight and he's like trying to keep the light on the door and him, but then he gets in there and then he gets attacked.
Yep. And then he gets attacked and she almost gets him, but
he gets thrown across the room.
He uses his phone and it saves him. But then, then he does get thrown across the room and she smashes his little phone.
Yeah.
She says, "No."
And then he does this thing where he leaves and
I was
starts
like,
running out the building.
Damn, Brett really leaving him.
I really thought like, damn, he's going because he runs out and they have this like kind of parking situation where it's kind of like, what are those called? Like an awning? Like a...
Yeah, it looked like it connected the house to the garage via like a little walkway and that went above.
Hella shaded and hella dark.
Yeah.
From the moonlight. And so he runs through it and as soon as he runs through it, he gets kind of like picked up.
Yeah,
and she's
like sideways.
About to...
body slam him.
Essentially, probably on his
wrestling podcast now.
Thankfully, he pulls out his little key fob and is able to turn on the lights.
Yep.
And so the floodlights from his vehicle are able to save his life. And he gets in the car and he leaves.
He just
leaves. And
then little fucking Martin was like,
"Did he leave?
Is he leaving?
Is he leaving?" And
you did.
And Becca's like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, you did."
And I was like, "Damn, and I was Martin's like, savage."
But I honestly as well, like, I can't be mad at Brett for leaving as well because meanwhile this bitch like just barely acknowledged like, yeah, we can be boyfriend girl. Not even that.
And I mean he comes back, y'all.
He does come back, but that's a lot to deal with. Like, that's scary.
That's the smart thing to do is go get the police, like go get more help when you're it's
that
dealing with
murdered.
But at least they call back up before they do.
Yeah.
So more people come and they're able to help save the day a little bit.
And so Brett leaves and Mom is talking to Diana back in the house. And she is essentially just like saying like, "You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired, Grandpa." Well, that's too damn bad is essentially what Diana's saying. And so Miss Sophie is wanting to take her meds again and she's going to take some, but as soon as she's trying to take it,
I think she was going to unalive herself.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
Yeah, I think because she said there's no you without me.
That's true.
To her.
That's true.
And I think she was
in that moment going to take all those pills. You're right.
And a more peaceful exit than what
we get later.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to take all those meds and unalive herself, but she gets thrown to the floor. She gets knocked out. And at the same time, we have Miss Becca and Martin in the basement, and they're just starting to burn old bills and paper that they find in boxes and like the little furnace to keep light going. She finds a black light and she essentially is like, "I'm going to go and look for
any more light, anything else.
Anything that can help."
Yeah. And she's going through the basement, which is remarkably large.
It's huge. It's a whole other level to the house.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And she finds, first off, there's this doorway that looks pretty sketch.
Yeah.
And there's this handprint on it she can see in the black light, which we can assume is blood.
It's Mama.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's Diana.
Yeah, Diana, I feel like that's where her dad is. I feel like.
Yeah.
And then, but then she gets into this other room and she sees all these words on the walls, like saying stuff about being trapped down here in the dark, just like in the hospital and stuff like that. And then, of course, because Paul worked at the fucking mannequin factory,
mannequins all around.
There's mannequins everywhere.
And as she's searching around there, as we're reading the writing on the wall, we read something about father and like something like that, just like I did to her father. I got to get rid of the father.
Yeah.
And as we're looking down the line of mannequins, she obviously looks at one and it turns around and it's fucking her, Diana.
Yeah.
And scares the crap out of everybody.
And her face was silly.
Silly Billy. And she ends up making Rebecca run out. Or try to run out, but she gets attacked again by Diana, and she's able to shine the black light on her. And at this moment, she realizes that the black light makes Diana visible, but it doesn't, like, regular light make her go away. And then as she does that, she's able to see where she's at and actually burn her with a real light.
Yeah.
Like a flashlight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a 1-2 punch situation. And so she's able to break free from her, and she goes and gets back with Martin. And at this point, I think the cops are shown up.
Yeah, Diana puts out their little fire that they have, but Brett comes whoop whoop rolling up with the police, and
the LAPD is in the building.
Yep, and they thankfully get Martin and Becca out of the basement. But
one of the cops gets killed unalived very fast by Diana. And that's the male cop. And then the other one, who's always like, oh my God, we need backup, blah, 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 blah. She leaves them and they're trying to yell at her, like, you need a light, like we need light. And obviously the cop isn't paying attention to them.
Cop's like, whatever.
Yeah, I've got a gun. And she gets murdered really fast. And I guess Diana be taking people's eyes out because it just turns into black. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she burned their eyes out. I don't
guess.
know.
Kind of like what happened to her, probably.
Yeah.
And so the cops are dead at this point, that's because obviously. And so that's whenever Brett is able to get Martin out of the house. But Miss Rebecca stays in the house because she's like, I'm going to get Mom. And so she's in there. But before she can get to her mom, Becca's getting thrown around and beat the fuck up by Miss Diana.
Yep.
In the living room, the foyer.
Before this happens too, Mom is having a conversation with Diana, basically saying, if you hurt my kids, we are never speaking again.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like, so now we've got that Sophie, Mom, has made a choice.
She's picking her kids over Diane.
Yep. And but yeah, Becca's getting thrown around like a little rag doll by Diana, and Diana says, stay away or I'll show you where I put your father. Which was like, bum bum bum. Yeah. It's in that door.
It's been revealed that Miss Diana killed her dad. He never went missing or left or whatever, went for cigarettes and never came back. He just literally was murdered.
Yep.
And so we get that big reveal. And so I think even as Miss Sophie comes and she has like this gun and she's like pointing it at Diana's body. I don't know.
Yeah, she's shooting it at Diana.
Yeah.
And Diana's saying like, that won't hurt me. And then that's when Sophie says, well, there's no you without me.
And she points it to her head, and Rebecca's screaming, no, Mama, don't. And Diana is saying, and running towards her. And then Mom shoots herself in the head,
successfully killing Diana as well. Diana goes up in flames, smokes again, just like she just kind of bursts. Disintegrates
like a human does.
Yeah. And then we're all outside.
Yeah.
And we're in the back of the ambulance.
And I mean, I guess I'm just like, how do we explain? I guess they're gonna spin it as like Mom went crazy and killed everyone, because there's what other way could you spin that? It's gonna get blamed on their mom.
Yeah.
And then she killed herself. And so, yeah, we're back, and basically Brett and Rebecca and Martin are talking, and they're basically a new little family now.
Yep. And then it just pans out on them, and then it goes to darkness.
And lights out. The end.
Lights out. The end. Boo time.
Boo time. I think I'm gonna give Lights Out a solid 4.
4.
I liked it.
Really?
I really liked it.
Good.
And it creeped me out. Yeah.
Good.
I was thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good storyline. I thought I liked that it was a mix of like a little bit of drama and heavy emotions mixed with the scary storyline. I thought it made sense that you know, the whole backstory with Diana being a patient, and then she died, and then like just like the trauma and how ugly her death was and brutal, essentially murder, how her soul then got like latched on to Sophie, and that's how she made her way into like, you know, the cyclical, always like, you know, first with Rebecca and then now with Martin's dad and stuff, and getting them out of the picture. So I thought it was pretty good. I didn't mind that they showed her a little bit.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. And overall, I mean, I found it effective because she creeped me out.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. I thought overall it was pretty good. I can see what you mean about the acting at some points where it was a little kind of maybe cringe, especially more so just between Rebecca and Brett.
Yeah.
And I think that's just more so because at times their love storyline kind of felt a little bit like
is cringe in general.
For trying to like, you know, squeeze this in here too.
Yeah.
Because I imagine like the movie without Brett, and it's still like it could have been pretty effective without Brett being there at all. He's kind of just like an extra like little thing for, I guess, for
someone who goes to save the day. And
I guess for there to be a little bit of stakes for Rebecca, but honestly, I really feel like it would have driven the movie more if he would have died.
Yeah.
At the end, because I feel like that even would have shown her like, no, I should and can love people, because look what happens when I had someone there to love, and then now he's dead.
Yeah.
And he gave literally his life for me to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that would have been a good arc for her to then like do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would give it, I think, a 2.5. Yeah. Just, it wasn't my absolute favorite. It's not terrible. I think overall it is good. There are some creepy moments in it for sure. And, you know, it does make you a little bit more hesitant when you turn the lights out.
Yeah, as someone too, who was afraid of the dark, I should have mentioned that too when I was a kid for like the longest time. Yeah. Even the dark still sometimes creeps me out. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I most of the time sleep with the TV on and stuff like that. But overall, I liked the short better.
Yeah.
Like if I could give the short something, 5.
5.
Give the short a 5. Give this a 2.5. And I think the issue for me is actually a part of a little bit of how much you loved it. The like storyline and stuff itself, it felt a little cliche in my opinion. And I like just the unknown and that's the beauty of something being only 2 minutes long. Yeah. It's meant to just be a 1 minute creepy thing and not meant to have a whole hour and a half of storyline like that so you have to flesh out. Yeah, exactly. And so I do wish they would have maybe stayed a little bit closer to the original character design. I do think that the character design that they had for Diana was still good. I mean, her face was silly looking whenever she went blah, kind of thing. But other than that, her face looked fine. I didn't mind it. It's definitely not one of the ones where I'm like, oh God, I hated that. It's not that. Yeah. I really loved how creepy and unnerving and stuff that the short was and the creature in that. And I would have loved to have seen it with that creepy smile. Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. Want some fun facts?
Fun fact me.
This movie made back its entire production budget on opening day at the box office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I saw this movie in theaters.
I really wish I would have. I'm pretty
sure. I remember seeing the thing and then going, ooh, I want to see that.
It kind of reminds me too, maybe I like it a lot because it reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Darkness Falls.
Oh yeah.
with like the lights and the witch come in one of their little, yeah, it's literally almost same story.
Yeah.
Except that's a crazy witch tooth fairy thing in the other one.
Oh, the mannequins in the basement were not brought in for the movie. They were already placed there by the owner of the actual house.
Oh, creepy.
Yep. So I wonder if they brought
fitting.
in the mannequin warehouse at the beginning
Because
for
of
that reason.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have, what's the word? Influence that.
Yeah. Director David F. Sandberg decided to focus on practical effects and avoided as much CGI as possible, which is probably why I liked the way she looked and it didn't bother me as much.
Whenever it would actually show her more.
Yeah. Which that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
Kudos
and
to them.
Sandberg also aimed to use as much authentic lighting for the film as possible. Some scenes were only lit by candle lights or fluorescent tubes, which you could tell this was a very dimly shot movie. I mean, it kind of has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're watching this in the middle of the day, probably not the right time to watch it. I did watch it in the middle of the day.
Middle day, yeah. But I mean, like,
it makes it too hard to see what's happening on the screen. I feel like you need to be watching this in pitch darkness to A, amp up the scary level, and B, just so you can actually see it. Yeah. And this was the feature film debut of David F. Sandberg, and he decided to expand his original short film Lights Out 2013 into a feature film after it garnered very positive reception on the internet. Nice. So this was his full first feature film. He did the short film as well, and I wish that he would have kept his original character design a little bit more, but I understand why it had to do it.
Yeah, he also directed Annabelle Creation.
Oh, the house in this movie is the same one used in Ouija and Ouija Origin of Evil.
I saw Ouija.
Yeah.
I think I saw that one. I didn't see the Origin of Evil one.
I didn't see that one either, but that one is the same house.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool. But yeah, so that's a 4 and a 2.5, making this what?
3.78.
7.8?
6271.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But we're not math people here, so we'll go with it. But yeah,
there was plans to have a sequel apparently.
Yeah, it was greenlit immediately, it said.
But it's never come into fruition. Interesting. But yeah, that was Lights Out, and as always, we are in the lovely Road Media Network studios.
That's right. They take great care of us.
You can listen to our podcast and a slew of other podcasts on their website, which is roadmedianetwork.com.
Yep. And if you don't want to listen there, you can listen to us on a whole lot of other podcasting platforms, the biggest two being
Spotify
and also Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
And wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that is the only way we can get ahead in this world. And if you are in the need for a blender, make sure you go use our code.
Yes, please. BOO12.
BOO12 at blendjet.com. To get you a cute little blender and match us.
Yeah.
Yay.
I really do have a black one, and Caitlin really does have a pink one.
Yep, and I've used it a lot. And
now my mom wants me to get her one too. So.
Really yummy.
They are really good, actually.
Yeah.
They come with these cute little like jet packs. They're in a variety of flavors. They have some that are like for protein. They have some that are more latte style, and then they have another variety which I believe is just like a fruit smoothie kind of situation.
I had blueberry banana yesterday morning, and it was really yummy.
Sounds good. I had the chai latte the other day, and it was amazing. Honestly, it was so good. I poured it over some ice and like put a little French vanilla in it, and it was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
So fancy.
And literally you just put the packet in with a little bit of milk and just it up 30-40 seconds. It's done. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been putting ice in mine as well too. And the BlendJet actually does do a good job of blending it up.
It does crush it up.
Yep. But if you want to let us know your thoughts on Lights Out, or if you forgot our code and you want to go buy your blender, then you can reach out to us on our one social media platform, and that is Instagram, and that is at
BooBaes Podcast, at BOOBAES, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right. And until next time, you guys, will be covering his house next. We got it backwards because I watched the wrong movie. Whoopsies. So we were supposed to end with Lights Out, but surprise.
We'll be ending with his house.
Yep.
Also on Netflix. So
Also on
if you feel like watching it, watch it before the next episode and tell us what you think about it.
Yep, and listen along with us. So until then, you guys.
Bye, Baes.
Bye, Baes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network